Hey, good morning, everybody. It is so great to be with you all here on the morning briefing with Friedman Adventures. I really hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. There is some extraordinary fishing that we're going to talk to you about here on this morning's morning briefing. It's really beautiful today. That sun is just beaming in. It's warm already. There's absolutely no wind here in Surfside, California. Could be a great day to do some surf fishing, as there's a grunion run again this evening. Things are looking up. I want to start with weather first of all, because something really rare happened. There was a hurricane that went ashore in southern Mexico, down there around Puerto Angel, Oaxaca. It is the largest May hurricane ever in the Eastern Pacific. So I wonder what that portends for the future for sport fishing here. Of course, we're thinking we're in a cold water year this year with a La Nina kind of brewing. We'll have more on that with our albacore forecast update later this week. So it's really an odd occurrence. It went ashore as a Cat 2, about 110 miles sustained wind, so fairly powerful, and for May, that is very unusual. Incidentally, that went ashore kind of where I lived for about 6 months. I lived in a village, it was in Guerrero, but on the border of Oaxaca, with the Amusco Indians for 6 months. That was a really fun time. My brother Paul actually discovered the place. He was down there doing some missionary work with the Catholic Church, and then I got involved in it. It was really, really fun to hang out with the Amusco Indians in Tlaxcala. Say that 3 times fast. So in honor of the Amusco Indians, their greeting term is Shamalo. I'll start out with that. Shamalo, everybody. All right, let's get you down to San Diego, where I'm running out of adjectives. Extraordinary. Now, having said that, there were a lot of guys who missed this past day or so. They missed, and I think a lot of that had to do with boat pressure. I mean, it's bumper cars out there. There are so many boats right now that, because this fish is so close, you know, it's really right there off Puerto Nuevo, Rosarito, a little bit to the south of there, sometimes even a little bit to the north of there. We're seeing that fish kind of hang out in that zone, and there was a lot of, so some guys did miss. But we had that extraordinary catches yesterday on those 6 a.m. departure boats. And I go back to that because it's so phenomenal what is going on. You leave at 6 in the morning, you come back at 6 at night, and you got a 200-pound bluefin tuna, and that is extraordinary. And the Grande kept it rolling yesterday. Yes, they did. Grande, Point Loma sport fishing, 36 guys, 32 bluefin tuna in the 30 to 170 pound class. We're going to have to talk about tackle here in just a moment. What an extraordinary day again on the Grande. They are rocking it down there. San Diego, nice day with 18 bluefin tuna in the 80 to 170 pound class. You can literally, if you're a private boater, leave at 6 o'clock in the morning and be back in shortly after noon with a giant bluefin tuna. I just can't tell you how extraordinary that is. All right, Nico Anderson, really great kid. I met him and Ruben Figueroa, another great kid. I call them kids, they're like 25 years old, but when you're old like me, that's a kid. And these guys were great. I mean, they know how to fish. They're really, really good. So they've got that dialed in. They're not arrogant, and they're there to help anybody on board. That's what I love about these guys. Some guys who really, really know how to fish, and they're a little arrogant, and they're pushing guys out of the way. Not into that. These kids are really great about that. So Nico was on the Searcher on a 3-day trip, and he raved about how wonderful the fishing was. At night, he said fishing was wide open, but it was mostly the smaller fish. So they were catching that smaller grade, 18 to 30 pounds. Still a great fish to have on board. But it was the daytime bite when it really turned on, and Nico said it was awesome. And he ended up with a limit of fish. He made the comment that if you did things right, you could get an easy limit. Now, the boat didn't have limits, but once again, if you were doing things right. So what does that mean exactly? Well, first thing it means is when you walk on board, you walk up to a deckhand crew member, introduce yourself, and ask them what is going on, because this is changing daily. So you need to ask and be open to the advice they're going to give you and do what they tell you. Just a side note, the crews in San Diego, 99% extraordinary. I salute their professionalism. They get some of these tangles that you have at night, and they get guys out of them. It's amazing how good they are at their job. So make sure you do that. Now, here's the experience Nico had on board the Searcher. Great fishing, but Saturday they had one bluefin tuna. So they had a down day. So I'm trying to emphasize to you that there are boats that are going to have down days. It's not wide open limits for everybody, but the size of the fish make it extraordinary. And Nico said daytime fish were when they got their big fish. Fishing around the tuna pens down there, off Rosarito, down there, off Puerto Nuevo, that's where they were getting bit the best. He said 8 to 12 ounce torpedoes were the best way to get it done, at least on the Searcher. 200 to 320 gram lures were the way to go. But Tommy Tarr, who was also out and just put a post up on our YouTube channel, and please, I mean, Tommy, thanks, man. Thanks for keeping us up to date with what your experience was. And anybody else out there, throw a comment up on YouTube anytime. We love to see that. We're a nice little community here, the Friedman Adventure family. And Tommy is helping people. Nico's helping people. I'll have more on that in just a moment. But that is the way to go. So, Tommy, 400 to 500 grams. So these fish are deep. And when you roll over a sonar mark, you want to get on that fish fast. So the quicker you get down there, the better. Those knife jigs are very effective at doing just that. And Tommy said 12 to 16 ounce torpedo sinker was working the best. So you can hear the variety of tackle we're talking about. And should you fish heavy? You know what I mean? You've got 18 to 30 pound fish and you've got fish up over 200 pounds. Should you fish heavy? Yes. 100%. You don't know what you're gonna hook. So you may be in a stop where you're getting straight 18 to 30 pounders. You drop down with some lighter stuff and you hook a 200 pounder on 30 pound and you can kiss it goodbye. It's gone. I would err on fishing heavy, and by that I mean 130 pound, 100 pound at least. 2-speed reels are the way to go. You heard about the heavy jigs working really, really well. All right, back to Nico on board the Searcher, because I really like this kid a lot, and I hope he's going to come over here and surf fish with me really, really soon. But Nico was out there. He had met a guy over at C4 Sport Fishing, and the guy was kind of just getting into fishing, so he hadn't fished all that much. And why I don't have that guy's name, it was Matthews, I think. Mike Matthews, I just found it, my scribbly notes there. So Mike Matthews, about 40 years old or so. Nico said, yeah, kind of an old guy. Thanks, Nico, you know, I'm way over that. But anyway, Mike Matthews just getting into the game, and Nico called him. He met him over there at C4 Sport Fishing. He said, I'm going to go on the Searcher. So boom, the guy was on it. And you know, when you're learning, things are difficult, especially in this kind of fishing. It's a learning process. There's a process. And so anyway, Nico hooked a big fish, and guess what he does? Hands it to Mike. This is beautiful. I love it. Hands it to him, coaches him. Mike gets a little tired. He takes the fish back. Nico works on it a little while, hands it back to Mike. Back and forth they go. They get a nice big fish on board the Searcher. And what do? Or what does Nico do? He says, Mike, enjoy it, baby. That's your fish. So again, I salute that kind of altruism. It's just great to see that going on. And Nico, you are the man. Thanks for the video and the great photos. And let's keep this thing rocking and rolling. San Diego, really, really extraordinary fishing. But as I said, there were some misses. We'll see if that improves as the boat pressure comes off a little bit here today, and we'll see how it goes along the rest of the way. That really is outstanding. All right, let's talk about the coast. We're gonna have beautiful weather up the entire coast. Is that barracuda gonna finally show up? Man, it's June. It's time for it. It's almost June. It's time for it to show up. And we do have a lot of anchovy up and down the coast. And basically, we've got nice weather up in the Channel Islands on the coast here today. So we'll continue to monitor and watch that for you very closely. You know, there's some good calico bass fishing, a lot of short fish up there at Dana, down in San Diego. There's been a few big yellows taken along the coast, and sea bass up there around Rocky Point for guys that have been fishing that with a mackerel. But for the most part, we're still looking at sculpin, rockfish, and filling the sacks with some really good eating fish. No big sustained surface bite. Water temps still a little bit on the cool side. We'll continue to watch and monitor that for you very closely, and high hopes that that's going to get going here very, very soon. Coronado Islands, jumping to the islands now, down south, few yellows there, calico bass, that kind of thing, but not many guys are really giving that too hard a look, as all you got to do is go a few miles past there and you're eligible. You've got an opportunity you're blessed to be able to look at some 200-pound fish. You know, Bill Wilkerson on the Malahini, Bill was telling me the other day they were making a circle on a meter mark, threw a scoop of bait, and he said the Volkswagens just came out of the water. They had to go around on the fish and got torn up. A lot of under-tackled anglers, so that is part of the game. And by the way, being organized is so important. Sam De La Torre, Island Fishing Tackle, Carson, California, recently did a video with us, and I'm going to put the link in the description. You can click on it. It'll change the way you fish bluefin in terms of your organization. It'll allow you to go from a lighter jig to a heavier jig, to switch it up. You want to watch this to be prepared, and a lot of anglers have said, man, did that change things for me. It's such a great way to organize, and it's such a great way when you're on scene to get to the lure you want, to get to the lure the deckhand says, no, hey, you need to change that right now, and there's not much time to do it if you take a look at that video and follow what Sam De La Torre had to say. All right, taking a look around out there at Clemente, the Fury, not bad, had a beautiful halibut. Man, that's a gorgeous big flatty, gorgeous fish yesterday. So they had 3 yellows, a halibut, bunch of rockfish and that kind of thing. We're gonna have okay weather here for a little while out there. It looks like the weekend, unfortunately, could get bad, but that's a ways out there. It's early to really bank on the forecast, but nice day on board the Fury out there out of Dana War Sport Fishing at San Clemente Island. Freedom has been out there recently and picking a yellow or two, a sea bass or two, and mostly rockfish and whitefish. Incidentally, part of the problem for me is that we're so focused on exotics that once you hear that there's only one yellow or one sea bass, everybody shrugs their shoulders. But I'm telling you, you go home with a great sack of great eating bottom fish when you go out to these local islands right now. And it's the experience. It's just being out on the water that means so much. Now, some of you hardcore guys are going, yeah, right, I want sea bass and I want yellows. But for those of you who are just getting into the game, these kind of trips are beautiful. And even old guys like me, I just enjoy being on the water with good people like Nico and all the people we meet on the Friedman Adventures charters. Incidentally, you can get our whole list, all our charters for the rest of this beautiful year by sending me a text at 657-227-6459. Make sure you do that. I do need to just drop back to those San Diego trips for one moment. And during the daytime, you are hitting some kelp patties. So I told you to bring the heavy. You do need to bring a rod with 30-pound fluorocarbon. We like Opsin USA, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. Get a note from Greg as well as a free gift. Opsin works really good, but so you do need to have that. Those yellows on the kelps, 5 to 12 pounds for the most part. But sometimes you'll find a kelp that's holding pretty good. The last couple of days, it was difficult to find a kelp that wasn't run over in all that boat pressure. But now maybe we'll start to find some. And perhaps here, if this water warms up a little bit more, on your way to Clemente or other venues, you might find some fish also. Santa Barbara Island, San Nicolas Island, we're going to have some weather there still right now. There has been some great halibut fishing, sea bass, copious amounts of rockfish. But we are dealing with just so much wind this June. In fact, kind of reminds me of when my brother Paul and I were kids and we were running a commercial boat called the Thunderfish for Barney Barnes out of Redondo. And we were trying to get to Tanner Bank to fish rockfish. And I mean, it was it went on for weeks. I can remember 6-week periods where we're like, God, is the wind ever going to give us a break? I don't remember the year. If I had to guess, I'd say 82 maybe, something like that, 83, 80, something like that, in that neck of the woods. And we just couldn't get out. It was just brutal, you know. We wanted to get out, make money, and catch fish, and have fun, and do all those crazy things. That particular year, when it was blowing like that, we had extraordinary albacore fishing. Don't get excited. The albacore forecast later this week, at least an update on it. We'll see how things are going to play out. So up there in the Channel Islands, we see flashes of brilliance up there, but they have been cursed with weather along the beaches and out around Cruz today. It looks like very fishable. And it looks like midweek you're going to get a nice break. So Wednesday, Thursday, and then the weekend is dubious. We'll see how those forecasts hold up, but a lot of great fishing along the coast at times. We'll hope that the weather gives us a break up there. Remember, Ventura Sport Fishing, they have the old Matt Walsh there now, the California, the Island Spirit. We just had a great trip with Cody, and I love Saul up there in the ticket office. He is really a great guy. And of course, the Endeavor, we're going to tell you, I mean, Tucker McCombs, he just keeps roping it and kicking butt up there, but you're not going to be able to get on that boat until November. Tucker is so sold out. 8056-7634-74. Say hi to Saul. Get out on a local trip here this weekdays. It's going to be good. I mean, good weather. We'll see how the fishing is. We stopped on some big schools of sea bass on the Island Spirit that just thumbed their nose at us, but hopefully we'll get some consistently good weather, and that will start to bite a little bit better. Along the surf here, we have a grunion run again continuing tonight, and then the next 2 nights also. It's gorgeous down here. It's sunny, it's warm. You know, we're going to have some solar warming. A lot of corvina along the beaches here recently, so we are seeing that, and they are right up on the beach, and you can catch those things on a low tide like right now. High tide today, I believe, is going to be around 11:30, noonish. Fishing 2 hours before to 2 hours after is a good time to catch some yellowfin croaker and some spotfin croaker, that kind of thing. I am going to do an experiment. Some of you know I taught science and other subjects in China for 3 years recently. The scientific method is very important to us all here at Friedman Adventures. And with that in mind, I will be taking sandworms and covering them in a liquid to see if it makes them grow so they are easier to hook and look like a morsel that a fish might want to bite. All thanks to Bill Varney, Fish the Surface, his book. You definitely want to pick that up. It's over there at 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California. So in honor of the scientific method, Galileo and scientists like that, and also Bill Varney, we will be pouring a substance over our sandworms to see what happens, and I hope to have that report out with you as well as some more surf fishing here today. Light line on those corvina, a very good and smart way to get things done. You want to fish that, and as light as 6 pound, 4 pound, you can have a ball on a little trout rod, and you don't have to cast very far. A little Carolina rig with a sandworm works great. A ghost shrimp works great. Mussel works great. Good way to get it done. And with all this feed coming up on the beach at night, and I was just down there looking at all, man, there's so many bean clams along the beach. Corvina love to feed on those, but grunion are going to bring in predators, and hopefully we're going to see that continue. All right, so that experiment later today. We are live tonight from 22nd Street Landing with Brian. Brian is a fountain of information. My knowledge is like this on most subjects, if not all. Brian's just an incredible encyclopedia of information, and you can interact with him tonight on the Friedman Adventures channel on YouTube. 7 p.m. we go live. You can type in a question and Brian will be happy to answer it. Anything at all. The differences between fishing on a sport boat for bluefin and a private boat. Anything. The guy's been involved in so much development, product development. He's a real star. We feel really blessed to have him on tonight, 7 p.m. live on the Friedman Adventures channel. Don't miss that jig organizer video that we did with Sam De La Torre over there at Island Fishing Tackle. That will change the way you do things. Super, super important. And I'm telling you, I am so excited about the future. If we get this wind to lay down, I'm telling you, there's going to be sea bass, there's going to be yellows, that big bluefin tuna, and maybe even a longfin or two. Only time will tell. Once again, thanks for sharing that cup of coffee with me this morning. As always, it's a pleasure to be with you all. Can't thank you enough for helping us to grow so fast and so rapidly. Almost 8,000 hours of content consumed by you lovely folks in the last 28 days. Thank you very, very much. Make sure you hit the like button. Just smash that like button for us right now. It means a lot, helps us to grow. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Really appreciate all of you. And subscribe and hit that bell. You want to hit that bell so you're notified when new content comes out. As as a, well, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I'm very grateful to you all. Thanks, everybody. Have a great morning, and we'll see you back here again later tonight with our 7 p.m. live show.